What's happening, fellow film fans? This is Emma Knatzer, your resident movie expert and favorite film fanatic. Today you're catching me in the studio on the phone with none other than Mr. Kenneth Branagh, director and star of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Kenneth?
Thank you very much.
Kenneth, you're known for many of your works, Hamlet, Shakespeare in general, Harry Potter, but today we're talking about Frankenstein. So let's get right to it. What inspired you to take a classic like Frankenstein and adapt it for the screen?
I read the book, which I had never read before.
You've never read Frankenstein? Come on, Kenneth, you're British.
Which is very surprising. It's a big surprise when you see this novel, which is really very different. There's a very strong personal story there, a love story. It's about families, dysfunctional families, about fathers and sons, fathers who reject sons, you know.
Yes, that's one of the things I noticed your adaptation in particular tried to emphasize.
You know, that's a bit of a detail that maybe nobody notices, but you have to get to it somehow.
You're right. That's really interesting. So, when you originally set out to put Frankenstein on the screen, what obstacles did you face?
It was a tough sell. In the film, it's only 93 minutes of fun-packed, exciting, romantic marvelousness.
One scene that really captured viewers' attention was the so-called birth scene. How were you and Robert De Niro able to execute the embryonic fluid bit?
There's been in a lot of my films who was constantly moaning about the fact that he had to dance.
Huh. I honestly hadn't really thought of it as a dance scene, but all right. So in the film, you play Victor Frankenstein. How did you go about playing this character? What did you want to augment or elaborate on?
The more ordinary kind of guy. Really where we started to join the fact and the fiction. So it's fiction based on fact.
Uh-huh. Right, yeah. So anyways, on a different topic, how would you say you felt your interpretation of Shelley's ending to the story played out on screen?
Life is an ambivalent business at best, and you know, happy endings are sometimes thin on the ground. Life is used, there's a bit of yin and yang going on in all our lives.
Woo, getting a little philosophical out here, Kenneth, I like it.
It's almost as if with a man who has suffered and who has lost and observed a life where other people experience the same things, tries with a sort of touching, almost childlike, playful quality to make it all right.
Victor Frankenstein with a childlike, playful quality, ladies and gentlemen. That is one way to put it. Anyways, Kenneth, one question that a lot of our listeners have been asking is how many times did you end up shooting the infamous Geneva house explosion scene?
I think it's 1 billion and a half.
Well, do you have anything to say to fans of Shelley's book who were a little bit disappointed in the choices you made that were unfaithful to the text?
You'll be all right.
No, for real. I mean, some of your scenes with Elizabeth get a little more heated than they're described in the book. Do you have anything to say about that?
It's making me a bit sweaty thinking about it now, actually.
Alrighty, if you had to describe your take on this classic Shelley novel in just a few words, how would you sum it up for us?
You see a man create life. It's a kind of mad, operatic, sexual kind of race towards conceiving this thing.
Well, that is interesting to be sure. And I think that's where we wrap things up today. Thank you so much, fellow film fans, for listening to this week's podcast. And be sure to tune in next week to hear more about your favorite movie things.